attention.
Hello.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm David, and we're here to talk about Big Brother.
You guys, it is officially crazy.
Yes.
It's been 30 days, they've been there a month, and they've all lost their minds.
They're starting to really actually lose it. Last week with Bridget sort of winning the power of veto, Bronte's on the block, right? One of her alliance members.
And what does she do?
She decides to just leave the nominations the same.
Even though she knows that Frank put Bronte up,
yeah,
she doesn't keep her.
No, because Frank sort of like convinced her when she was like drunk and vulnerable that it was fine that Bronte was on the block because he put her up because he knew Bronte was going to be safe.
No, he didn't do any of that. He told
she convinced
her
herself of
and
that.
she is always under his little fingers.
Yeah.
And so she twisted it to make it seem like it was okay.
So she leaves Bronte on the block, and now the house is kind of flip-flopping. Do we get a Tiffany, like was the plan, or do we get up Bronte because now everybody's against Frank?
Right, everyone sees through Frank. I don't think he played this Bridget HOH well at all. He got into Bridget's ear. Great, your nominees are up on the block. Great, go back to your alliance.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He stayed so close to Bridget. He allowed this like gap to build with the other people in his 8-pack.
So now they're all talking behind his back, and he doesn't even really realize it.
He doesn't even realize it. He thinks everyone's solid on Tiffany. Well, Day had thought, well, I want to keep Tiffany because that goes against Frank. And Tiffany can like get the blood on her hands to go after Frank, and I wouldn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Also, Michelle, who just kind of felt bad. Like, she gets along with Tiffany. They kind of talked a little bit, and she just felt bad that Tiffany was moping the whole week and didn't really know why they were getting rid of Tiffany.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, they're getting rid of Tiffany because Frank told them to get rid of Tiffany.
Yeah.
So they start to wake up a little bit, and they think, well, we don't need to do his dirty work if we don't want to.
Yeah. And they're sort of realizing, like, we're all gunning for Frank at this point, and so is Tiffany.
Right.
So she's a vote for Frank. Like, we might as well keep her in the house and get Bronte out.
Right. Let her be our number.
Yeah.
So they flip back and forth. They have lots of different conversations about it. Some people are against it, but then they change their minds. So anyway, day of eviction, it was Michelle, Nicole, Polly,
Corey,
and Day were in on who's gonna vote what and make it a close vote so Frank doesn't really know. It's not like the whole house turned on Frank.
Right.
And we can all just play it off of like, oh, I don't know, someone must have given her a sympathy vote, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
So at the eviction, out 5-4, Bronte walks out of the house.
and Bridget is like,
Bridget's mad.
She's
Frank
stunned.
is shocked.
Oh, yeah.
Did not see that coming.
Yeah.
My favorite Oscar-winning performance, Michelle, storms into the bathroom like this was the worst thing ever.
yes.
And here it was her doing.
Right, yeah. So now Frank is sort of like on the warpath because he obviously knows, like, okay, this did not fall the way that I thought it was going to, so somebody flipped on me. He's sort of pointing fingers.
Which we knew he was going to. As soon as he's on alert that things are not going smoothly, of course he's going to start to freak out.
Yeah.
Well, when you go to immediately play HOH, he's now not going to just let it go because he doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as Tiffany gets knocked out of the HOH, then everyone else is now worried.
Yes.
Because Frank's still in it. So what do you do? What do you do? Now Polly has won it. No one wanted Polly to win it.
No.
Now Frank is safe for the week.
Yes. Sort of worst case scenario for everyone. Polly, I think, wanted to throw it to Nicole so that someone other than Category 4 would be head of household. Like, there's just really only been 1 week, and I think it was the first week, to get Frank out, and then he wasn't on anybody's radar at this point, at that point. So someone else needs to win HOH, but it's Polly this week. Tiffany has been saved by 5 people in the house, right? And she says, like, Frank is my target. So you would think that she would scope out, like, who saved me?
We didn't even talk about the speech she did on national television, which was amazing. She blew up some games. She called him out as a dictator. She called Bridget a Cabbage Patch doll. It was great. It was amazing. She says, I'm not going after anyone. He's my target.
Yeah.
Said it on national television.
Yep, in front of the whole house. So you would think she would sort of try to suss out, like, who voted to save me so that she could say, hey, thank you so much for saving me. I'm loyal to you. Let's get Frank out. Like, how do we do this? But instead, she's just kind of moping around. And to be fair, like, people are walking out of the room whenever she's in there. So she can't talk game to anybody. But then she proceeds to have another complete meltdown.
Okay, well, all of this is because she went up to Frank and was like, dude, this was because you were targeting me. Like, they start to hash it out. Well, that scares all of the people who just voted for her.
Yeah.
Because she's stirring stirring up drama when that's not what they kept her for.
Yeah.
They all feel like, what did we do? Why did we keep her? This isn't the way we wanted it to go.
Yeah.
So they like don't talk to her. They get up and leave the room. And so now she's even more angry. And now she's going even more insane and crazy.
Yeah.
So where does that lead her? To the one person who's willing to talk to her. Frank.
And they make a deal.
He's willing to work with her because he's willing to work with anyone, really.
Sure.
But then she like lays it all out on the line.
Oh, she blows up the house.
Frank, everyone's been talking about you for over a week now.
Yeah.
Nicole wants you out. Corey wants you out. Polly wants you out. She's just going down the list and he's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
He had no idea. And now she's telling him, and he's like, well, girl, I got you.
Yeah, and I think he believes her because Tiffany's back is up against the wall. She has nothing to lose. No one will talk to her.
Right.
So you can sort of trust a house guest like that.
I just have so much to say about this, but we can't go on about it forever.
Right.
It's just insane. So Polly put Tiffany and Natalie up on the block.
Right.
Polly is so blinders on, just wants Tiffany out.
Yes.
Completely regrets not getting her out this last week.
Right.
Not going to do that again. Natalie is just like, well, she's just there. A lot of people want to break up the James and Natalie.
Yeah, people are starting to go after the showmances, but really Polly's target is Tiffany.
Right. Roadkill.
Yes, they have to do the whole air freshener challenge, and really the only worst case scenario for the house is if Tiffany or Frank wins the roadkill competition, and sure enough, Tiffany wins it.
I mean, hey, good for you. You got a challenge.
You won one when you needed to win one.
Good job. You're really angry and determined, and you won one.
Yeah, so now she's talking to Frank and Bridget about who do we put up. So she decides on Corey, and then in sort of a weird move, she like goes and tells Day that she's putting Corey up on the block, so now maybe Tiffany trusts Day.
I'm not sure. She's kind of working with Day or pretending to work with Day. That's an odd one. But Frank had planted Corey into Tiffany's head the night before because he said, if I win, I'm putting Corey up.
Yeah.
But Tiffany wants to get back to Polly because Polly, when he said, I'm putting Tiffany on the block, he kind of was like, you had the votes this past week, but you don't have them anymore.
Right.
So he wasn't very nice about it.
And he also said something about her being Vanessa's sister and the kind of game she's playing.
Which is weird because you're Cody's brother. So neither one of you are really playing the same as your sibling.
Right.
Like, as annoying as Tiffany is, she's not playing like Vanessa.
Right.
That's so weird. We could just be like, you're playing like Cody. What?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Tiffany ends up putting Corey up on the block, so that's where we stand. It's Natalie and Tiffany and Corey on the block.
So we actually have two people that we want to put on the block because
we couldn't even pick one.
We could not.
Yeah.
There's way more crazy that happened this week than good, smart gameplay.
The first one we wanted to put on the block was Bridget because she had such an abysmal head of household week.
I would like to go on record and say this is one of the worst HOHs in BB history. Like, really bad.
Yeah, you won the power of veto. You had the opportunity to take your best friend and ally off the block.
You never leave an alliance member on the block. You never leave an alliance member on the block.
And she, at that point, knew that Frank was going to be, doing the renomination, so why would you leave Bronte up there?
Why would you? Let's back it up, though. First off, you just put Frank's two people on the block.
Yep.
You had nothing to do with who actually went on the block.
Right.
Then Frank tells you that he put Bronte up as the roadkill winner, who's your best friend in the house. If you were really working with Frank and your best friend is on the block and he put that person up there and you all of a sudden have the ability to take this person down, this is what you do. You have a conversation and you say, I'm going to take her off the block. Let's figure out who you're going to put up there.
Who are we putting up there?
Because she was like, I don't want Natalie to go up as a replacement. And I'm like, is Natalie the only other person in the house?
There are several other people.
If you are legitimately working with someone, you guys can mutually find someone to replace someone you want to come off of the block.
And then you see if someone's trustworthy, if they actually follow through with the plan you've discussed with them.
Right. If you have no options, because this person that you're working with is only going to put people up that you want to work with, then this isn't a working relationship.
But she falls for it and Bronte goes home. So
Bridget, you're so on my poo-poo list. Like, I want nothing to do with you and your game on this Big Brother. Worst gameplay in this house. Anyway, Couch Trash Kit.
So who was the second?
So the second one is Tiffany. Okay, look, I get it. It's rough being in a house full of people who won't talk to you. And it's rough being on the block 2 weeks in a row. I know that that takes an emotional toll on you. I know it must be hard. I'm sure I would freak out and act like a crazy person too. But we see it all the time. Just last season, Johnny Mac was in a similar position situation where nobody is talking to him. He didn't know what to do. And he took some time. He mentally figured it out. And he came up with a game plan.
Well, you know what he didn't do? He didn't have a meltdown.
He did not. And Day has been in some bad situations this season. And she's had to sort of pick herself
Work her way
back
out
up.
of it.
But Tiffany did not do anything well.
It's interesting that you bring up Day because she, you know, had a blow up with Frank. And then she did damage control. And whether or not it's effective is sort of a moot point as far as the point I'm trying to make. Tiffany doesn't know what damage control is. I don't think she's ever tried to do damage control with anyone because again, when Day tried to pull her aside and be like, what's going on? Tiffany just was acting like a crazy person. And Day was like, no, really, are you about to like really lose your mind? Like, what is going on?
People just saved you. And yeah, they're not making you feel warm and fuzzy about it.
Right.
But that's not what this game is about.
Right.
They saved you, so use it to your advantage.
Yeah.
Going to the one person that they're working against doesn't help you.
Right.
So now she's on the block again, and her only real alliance, seemingly, is the one person who has no control in the house.
Yeah.
So how is that going to help you?
You need to go to the other people in the house who are votes, you know what I mean? Like, Frank can't rally any votes for you.
We're
just exhausted by Tiffany.
It's exhausting and it's not going to work out, and I don't feel bad that you're leaving this week, Tiffany.
Yeah.
Spoilers. She does not win Power of Veto, so she's not able to take herself down.
No.
So I can't imagine anything happening to save her right now.
No.
She would have to miraculously remember to be a normal person. And I just don't know that she has that in her.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. Did we like anyone this week?
Polly was sort of good. I mean, I think it's good for Polly to be laser focused on Tiffany. That was a good move to put her on the block.
The points that I give to Polly, because I don't think Polly's playing a flawless game. I know that Derek trained Polly.
Yeah.
But he's not playing Derek's game. He's got some flaws, but I will say this to Polly's advantage. In this whole 8-pack, whatever, his final 2 is with Corey. And that's smart because Corey's not smart, but he's probably good physically.
Sure.
He hasn't won a lot yet, but he will. Spoiler, Corey wins Power Veto.
Yeah.
And then James, Polly brought into his mix as well. James, again, not the brightest bear in the woods, but he's got a good social game, and he'll win competitions.
Yeah.
So Polly has surrounded himself with the people who will loyally work with him, but that Polly can still be in charge and manipulate.
Yep.
So I don't know that he's going to win this season, but I do believe he will go a long, long way because he has surrounded himself with the right people.
There wasn't a real standout of household moments, so we're just grasping at straws here, okay? So Polly, you're the winner.
Oh my gosh. So I don't know. It's already crazy, which is why we love this show.
That's right.
Oh boy, oh boy.
We'll have to see who gets renominated and if Tiffany actually gets voted out. I think she will this week, but you never know.
It's been 30 days, Big Brother. When are you going to tell me that Michelle's related to Nicole?
Yeah, come on.
I'm still waiting for that.
Quit holding out on us.
I'm still convinced it's going to happen.
I'm also excited to see, after this eviction, which of the 5 will come back in the house.
This is only the 4th, though, right?
No, there's Glenn, Jose, Victor,
Glenn!
Bronte.
I forgot about Glenn. Okay, all right, so this is it. Someone's going to come back.
Yeah.
And a couple house guests have mentioned, like, a pre-jury buyback where someone's coming in. So that has floated around the house a little bit.
Okay.
But they don't know that it's definitely happening.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting.
All right, you guys. Please let us know what you're thinking, who you're rooting for, if you are so perturbed with Bridget like I am.
Yeah, and click subscribe because we'll be back next week.
Bye.
Bye.